there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited as always. And I'm excited especially about this topic today. I'm going to share very simply a perspective on how to think about love today differently. How to think differently about love today. Let me just make sure everyone's getting this. Make sure you guys get in from wherever the places are that you're joining us. I just want to make sure everybody has access. 1 second. 1 second. All right, and invite a friend. You're gonna love my perspective today, and I know that it's going to support you. That's my goal, is to support women who are giants, and you can only be a giant if you know how to love yourself properly. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm Mia Redrick, um, advisor to women who are smart, sharp, highly capable. You've already done incredible things, awesome things. And today I want to talk specifically about just a new way to think about loving yourself. Now, I've got notes as always, and my goal is to support you in showing up and being the highest and tallest and best version of yourself from this moment forward. And so I'm going to shake your shoulders a little bit. And I would say, if your feelings get hurt easily, this might not be the live for you, because I'm going to get you to really think deeply about how you are caring for yourself. All right. So, love, in my opinion, isn't just something you receive. So, typically on Valentine's Day, we focus on what others are doing for us, or how others are expressing their love for us based on who we've been to them. But today, I want you to think differently about what love is. And I want you to understand that love is something that you practice with yourself. Hear me on this, okay? Told you we're going to talk about this a little bit differently. Love is a practice, a self practice of how you care for yourself. I wrote about it today. And so we're taught on this day to show love to others. But I want to challenge you, in addition to that, obviously, I want you to also think about how you can show greater love toward yourself. Because what I see often in working with so many capable women over the years is that if I had to have them list for me what they were doing for others, they would say 100 million things of why they love someone, or what they're going to do for others, or how they're going to show up for others. And if I said to the exact same people, tell me what you would do for yourself. How do you care for you? How do you show love and care at the highest level for yourself? And often their answers are less, non-existent, or something they have to think about. So I want to address that today. I think that this is going to really support you. Okay. But what if you were able to reset today how you are caring for yourself? What if love for you today meant not just what you're doing for others, but what if it was your opportunity to also just create a reset for how you are caring for yourself? How you are thinking about what your needs are, how you're thinking about what will allow you to be healthy, or what would grow your life on the personal development side, or what your dreams are, and whether or not you're stepping into the highest version of what those look like, or have you put that aside? Because I want to challenge you on this. Often, when I'm speaking with women, particularly women who have children or who are married, a lot of times they're really great at knowing what every other person in their world and life needs first. And and because they're loving, right? And they are dutiful in their ability to know meticulously what everybody needs. But it often results in them putting themselves last, and not, even though they have the muscle for love, they don't have the same reciprocity for themselves for self-love. And I believe this wholeheartedly, that the things that you do for yourself are ultimately what you are giving to others. Does that make sense? You can't give anyone a highest, tallest version of yourself if you don't work on yourself, if you don't grow yourself, if you don't sow seeds inside of yourself. And yet, many women are giving the people they love the most the least amount of themselves, even though they are giving a lot. they're over functioning. And I want to just talk about that for a minute. Self love, in my opinion, isn't a luxury. I've talked about this for years since I wrote my first book, Time for Mommy: 5 Essential Strategies for Mother Self Care. Self care is not a luxury, it's a way of living. And it means that you start each day with intention, thinking about what is the most loving and kindest thing you could do for yourself. And whether that means, this morning, for example, for me, it was having my beet juice with turmeric and ginger, very loving. It's very good for me. It's very loving. Whether it's that I decide to get on the Peloton and work out, that's very loving. Whether it's that I decide that the shower that I'm going to use is going to have the vitamin C filter. I don't know if you guys are using or have heard of the vitamin C filters you can put on your shower. Very loving. It's very kind to myself. Self-care is not a luxury. It's a very intentional process. And a lot of us, we are very intentional about how we love others, but we are not as intentional about what we do for ourselves. Self-care, in my opinion, is me running a business, doing what I love to do, being fully and absolutely expressed in what I get to do to help women show up in ways that are better and kinder for themselves, insisting that the women that I serve are brave. They have courage to take the actions that can change their lives. And often what I hear over and over again, I've talked about this a million times over the years, and you guys know my heart. So many women have said to me, the reason that they do what they do in their business is for their family. And it's almost as if they have felt guilty saying, this is what I need in my professional work, in terms of the kind of time that I need to get back, right? What you have to always understand is the things that you do for you is what you are giving everyone else. And there is no guilt around deciding that loving yourself is being intentionally kind, deliberate in the decisions that you make that enhance you. I hope you guys feel me. If you feel me, okay, because I want to talk about this from my heart, I want you to write, I feel you, okay? Even if you're listening to this on the replay, all right? Loving yourself means, to me, not ignoring your needs. It means being able to have an ear to hear what it is that you need. And I say it that way because a lot of times we have not spent a lot of time thinking about what our needs, thank you, Melissa, thinking about what our needs are. So when I say to you, or if I asked you right now, or if you were writing down right now, what is it that you need? You might stutter a bit, right? Not be unclear, not focus, right? Why? Because when we're out of practice of that even being a thought, it's just not the most loving and kindest way to be, but we can change it, all right? Hey there, Gwen, I'm so glad you're here. Loving yourself, in my opinion, means that you stop over functioning in relationships. Now, this is going to be sensitive for so many because this is what I know about sharp, smart, amazing women. We over deliver all the time. It's an unconscious competence that we have. Okay. So when we show up for projects at work, you tend to do more than your share. You tend to have read more. You've studied more. You've done more. You know more. You've lived this life that's incredible. And unfortunately, in many of the dynamics at which we live, we are over functioning and we aren't aware. I hear it all the time where women who I've had the opportunity to serve the, vice president of this or medical doctor at this thingamajig or special talent in some other way. And we are so used to everybody coming to us as a resource, being the person that has the answer, that we have become invisible inside of our own lives, meaning that we are so used to giving every single person in our world and in our life all the parts of us. At the end of the day, you're tired. Yeah, you're welcome. You're tired. And the reality is you can't even think clearly about what is the best, highest next step for you. And I hear this all the time, guys, when I'm speaking with a woman who wants to work with me. She wants to run a business. She wants to elevate her life. She wants to create freedom. And then when we talk about how to do that, she just thinks, I just don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have. And one of the things that I help her to understand is like, but you're functioning over here in this way, in that way. You're taking care of this person's career. You're making sure the kids are on point for school or college or whatever they've got going on. You're doing everything at the committees that you're on. You're the leader, you're the head, you're on the boards. You're doing all of these things. But what you're not doing is taking care of you. And when you're done with doing all of those great things, which are great things, so don't get me wrong, but you don't have any room for you. That's what overfunctioning looks like. And it's time to practice more self-love, right? Hashtag self-love. Loving yourself also means allowing yourself to be fully expressed. And this is a full statement. All right. And what I see is that a lot of talented, smart women, they've done what they've needed to do to achieve great success in their life, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years plus of experience, right? But what they have found is that where they are today is not where they were 20 or 30 years ago in terms of what they're doing doesn't light them up the same way, or the new version of who they want to be, they don't get to be all of that. And they at a crossroads in a way. It's like you either keep doing the thing that you've been doing because it pays the bills and it's great, but you feel like there's a part of you that isn't alive. You know what I'm talking about if I'm talking to you, right? You feel like there's a part of you that nobody really gets. And I'll give you a couple quick examples. I have clients who are great in the medical profession, but they also are great designers. And they've been told like, oh God, I want to start this design business, but I'm so good over here. If I do this, it has to be all or nothing. And it doesn't have to be. There is a power in being able to merge the things that you love. Today is all about love, right? And create the new thing that gets you excited. I think there's something really powerful about I'm a Christian. I believe God is love, right? And I think that when I wake up each day and the work that I do, I just want to love it. I want to love what I do. I want it to be the highest expression of my goodness on this earth. And I know for sure that there's no way that I could do something that literally sucks the life of me and I give the best version of who I am to others that isn't kind to them or loving or to myself. And so today we're talking all about how to think about love differently. And I wanted to break this down because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. But when you are already successful, often people don't think about you loving you. They think about how, as a result of how you love them, life is good. But inside that there is more. And I'm just talking to those of you who are interested in the more. Okay. And if that's you, I want you to write more. There is more. Loving yourself means that you treat self-care as your foundation and not your escape. And when I wrote this, I was thinking so many people approach self-care like a getaway, like a go get a massage or a facial, or go somewhere where you can go in a steam room or infrared sauna, all of this stuff. Okay. But see, self-care is your foundation. It's how you know that you are in alignment with yourself. Okay. It's how you know that the choices you are making are coming from the core parts of who you are. When your foundation is off, decision making is off also. Does that make sense? And that's one of the things I think is so important. When I see women who their foundation of self-care, self-love, the practice of it is off, it means often when they're doing the things, like they're running their business, I'm like, well, why are you charging like $150 an hour? Like, why are you charging $500 for this thing? Like, why would you be doing this? Why are you running this business and on the free, right? You're just trying to prove to others that you're great with all of these years of experience. See, when your foundation is off, your decisions lack clarity. They lack they lack power, because you can't own your power when your foundation is cracked, right? Foundation is cracked. It's time to change it. I wanted to talk to you guys differently today about what self-love is. Self-love is not something you go to escape. yourself or your life. Self-care is something that you build within your life. Does that make sense? When I designed my office, and I was very intentional. I work from home. I thought, how can I love plants. I love flowers. How can I see those things in my life every day when I work? How could that be a part of my life? When I think about my schedule and I think about building a business around my life, right? The one thing that's very important to me, how do I show up for the things that matter to me and for me the most? Right? Like, so if you want to exercise in the morning, building a schedule that makes sure that that happens first. If you want to have dinner with your family every night, making sure that that's in the schedule, it's a non-negotiable. If it's that you like the practice of, I like to bake things. So I love to make, homemade bagels and things like that because it's something I enjoy doing. I love to decorate. I want to have time in my life to do those things. See, it's not loving to self to not do the things that yourself wants to do. Are y'all with me? So if you're with me, okay, I want you to write, I'm with you, Mia. I told you I'm going to break this down. I'm going to shake your shoulders because I want you to know this, that the business that you've been wanting to run is waiting on you to love yourself more. And it's time to give yourself what you need the first time. See, loving yourself means, in my opinion, is giving yourself what you need the first time. And I say it to you this way because, look, folks come to me and sometimes the business is in crisis, or it's the business they've been trying to start for 5 years. They've been trying to do it, or the book they've been trying to write, or all of these things. And I said, why did you not give yourself what you need first? You're talented, you're smart. The time is now. You're going to have more energy today than you have ever, right, in your life. The time is now. Why not make a powerful choice for yourself? When you were taking your kids to look at all the colleges that they wanted to look at, and you saw tuition, don't get me started about tuition. You get tuitions between out-of-state tuition, where you're looking at anywhere between like $50,000 to, $90,000 if you're choosing something like an NYU. And you didn't bat an eye. Well, maybe you did bat an eye, but you still said yes. Okay. The reality is, and then you go to look at what you need for yourself the first time. And maybe it's investing with a coach or a mentor that hold you accountable, call you out, hold you accountable to the promises that you made to yourself, which is self-love, by the way. Okay. And you bat an eye, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. You didn't bat an eye at what you were going to deposit into your kids, not 1 year, every single year. Don't know what I'm talking about. And for those of you who are the moms who have had to do like loans for their kids, because I have a bunch of friends now that their kids are in a cycle where if those parents did loans for those kids, those loans are due. And the parents are paying them, by the way. All right. Thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they did not bat an eye. But when it came for them to invest in themselves, to build their consulting practice, to create that transition for themselves, self-love, they batted an eye. I'm talking to you. I told you it was going to shake your shoulders a little bit. Today, we're talking about a different way to think about how to love yourself today. And I hope you can be a great friend to a friend and pass this on to someone that you know will be blessed because of this message. Because as women, we don't talk about this enough. We talk about over-giving, over-delivering, and demonstrating, over-functioning, and making and normalizing it, making it seem so normal that we have forgotten ourselves. And as a result, your family's not even getting all of who you are because you don't even know who you are. Hear me on this. Why this matters, okay? When you prioritize your own self-love, you become a lot more creative. So if you're in this space where you're like, I'm confused, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to launch this. I don't know if I want to launch that. I don't know if I want to lead with these things. The reason you're confused is because your foundation is weak. And that's why coaching and mentorship is very, very important. A lot of times when I'm talking to clients and they are, I could do this and I have this and I have this product. And they keep choosing the one that they think that no one's going to say no to. And that's almost always the one with the lowest price. I know I called you out, okay? And as a result of having mentorship that sees you as your highest and tallest version, that won't allow you to shrink, what happens is you start to choose that highest and best solution for yourself, the thing that you can do the best, that you're afraid of, that you think is going to take you the longest to do. And I want you to hear me on this. When you show up as your highest and tallest self, those are the easier clients to serve. The client that's going to pay you 10 grand is going to be way easier than the client's going to pay you $800. I promise you on that. And you have all the capacity in the world to deliver to them every single thing that they need. But the challenge is that because you feel small, you feel like you don't have the time, because you don't have the energy that you used to have, and I'll talk about that in a minute, you keep choosing small and you're making it harder on yourself. And it's time to change that, right? Hashtag change that. All right. Why this matters? Because your energy changes. See, when you choose more powerfully, when you make better choices, and self-love, self-care allows you to do that, your energy, you become a lot more alive. You become a lot more clear. Your no's become no's and your yes becomes yes. You recognize, like, I don't need to work with the whole world to hit my goals. I just need to work with the right people who need the highest and tallest version of me. But again, often we don't take that time to really think about what's the highest and tallest version of what I can do. What's the way I can do it in a way that's the most easiest and effortless? What's the kindest way, the gentlest way that I could show up and create the greatest amount of impact based on my gifts, based on my experience? Are you with me? Okay. Why this matters? Because your confidence grows. And the reality is when we practice loving ourselves, you will see that immediately, almost immediately, your confidence grows. You start to not doubt who you are. You start to understand and get a full view of what your capacity is. See, a lot of times, not taking that time for yourself, you have no idea what your capacity is, because you're operating from a place of overfunction, just being tired, giving everybody else the best of who you are, and being unclear around what you deserve. Not having routines in your life that affirm you, support you, and make your decision making greater. Are you guys following me? Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Why this matters? Your decisions get clear. And let me explain what an indecision looks like, because I have heard it a million times over the last 20 years coaching women. Indecision looks like, I got to ask my husband if I can work with you. What are we talking about? You telling me you get ready to run a business, you want to hit $250,000 or more in that business, and you can't make a decision for yourself around what you deserve to grow a business that's going to benefit your family? See, that's what indecision looks like. I told you, if it's sensitive, I just want to break it down. And because if you are saying these things, you're saying these things most often because you haven't taken the time to really connect with who you are. I say to my clients all the time and I just talked about this yesterday. I said, look, if you're in a place and you work with me and you invest, let's say $10,000 and you make $100,000, right? Just example. And many of them do that. What part of that is confusing? Who would not invest $10,000 more to make the next $100,000? Tell me. So you guys can put it right here, okay? The reality is that we are so disconnected from ourselves that when it comes down to making a powerful choice, or even understanding the choices that have grown us, we are confused. What does growth look like? Growth could look like a monetary growth. Yes. Growth could also look like you start to see your capacity in bigger, fuller ways. Yes. Growth looks like indecision goes away. You don't need to say, well, when the kids graduate, I'll do this for myself. Let me see if I should, let me ask my friends. Let me ask my spouse. Let me ask my community. What do you guys think? You think I should bet on myself? What? Okay, the nature of the question tells you that where's that indecision coming from? Lack of self-love, not having the foundation to be able to choose powerfully for yourself the first time. All of what I talked about right there. I'm just breaking it down today, right? Like, I just want to break it down. Thank you, Michelle, because I think so many people are dealing with this, right? And that they're in a bottleneck in their life and in their business. Why? Because maybe you created a significant success, but it stopped. Why? It stopped because you stopped caring for yourself, or the level of love that you need right now and care that you need is different. Give yourself what you need the first time. Okay. Trust the nudges inside that you feel, right? To make you move, like, and change your life. Be open to what that is. Your impact expands. The truth of the matter is, when we love ourselves differently, your impact expands. You get to be yourself. You get to speak from your truth. You get to be authentic. You get to do that. Do you know the most inauthentic thing is being great but not operating like it? Like keeping all of your greatness to yourself because you're too tired, you're too fragmented, right? You know what I mean? You done gave it away to every single person in your life, in your world, and the person that needs it most is you. Because when we think about what your example could do for others, when we think about what your skills can do for the people you're meant to serve, your gifts were not meant for you. Your gifts is the conduit. It's like what God is using inside of you to create impact so you can touch others or create an echo. But no one can feel that echo if you won't show up and show out. Okay? If you have to be a muted version of yourself around your friends, around your partner, around any single person you are, your coworkers, it's the wrong place for you. And it isn't loving and it isn't kind if that's the case. When women love themselves, life changes. It gets better, right? I want to speak to this also, this piece here, because so many people are afraid of being great, like afraid. Like me, I want to do this, but I'm afraid. Like I've never spoken in front of 1,000 people before. Me, I want to write a book. I want to be a New York Times bestseller, but I'm afraid. Like I don't know what if. Well, I mean, what would I do? I've never done that before. Me, I want to build a great coaching business, and I want to coach hundreds of people, but I don't know if I know what to say to these people. How do I know? I'm going to tell you this, that when you face your fears, you get to live with completely different gifts. If you can see it, you can do it. Okay. So that's the first thing. I have shared this story years ago. I could not swim at 40 years of age. I decided to overcome that fear. What I would do is sign up for a triathlon. And I started a triathlon team. And there were 11 women. We called ourselves the Iron Moms. And I had to learn to swim in 9 months before the race. Open water swim. Are we serious? Okay. The girl that can't swim at all. Can't swim at all. Afraid to put her head underwater. Me. And the majority of the women on my team, they couldn't swim either. Okay. We had one that could swim a lap. Okay. So I had to do a swim that was 0.68 miles. So a little over a half a mile and, almost a quarter of a mile, right? That's a big swim. Open water swim. Are we serious? So I hired a swim coach who taught me how to get over water aversion, meaning put my head under the water, but I wasn't in condition to be able to open water swim. Are we serious? Okay. So I ended up hiring, hear me on this, guys, lean in. I hired a triathlon coach, and this triathlon coach taught me how to endurance swim. She taught me how to swim, how to endurance swim. I had to swim up to 2 miles inside of a pool. But I told you that the swim was an open water swim. It was a lake swim, which meant nothing to grab on, right? Swimming with a group of people I don't know in dark water. Come on, people. And what was amazing, when we get to race day 9 months later, okay, and I start to swim, and she told me a couple things. She said, focus on what you feel. Don't focus on what you see. Now, the reason she said that was because she knew that I had never seen that my head in that much water with all of these other people out there, and it would be intimidating if I focused on what I saw. But she said, focus on what you feel. And a lot of you guys need to focus on what you feel. You are already talented. You're already smart. Your life has been the proof and the evidence that if you run this business, you're going to rock it out. But you got to have the right coach and mentor to tell you to focus on the right thing. And because often we aren't operating in love inside of ourselves that way. No, you get a cookie, kid. You get a cookie, husband. You get a cookie, friend. You get a cookie, mom and dad. And you're not leaving any cookies for yourself. Okay. And as a result of that, you don't get to see on the other side what it looks like. I'll never forget this race day. I'm swimming. I am scared. Okay. It's hundreds of people. If you've ever done triathlons, they're waves, right? So maybe it's 100 people in the wave that you're in. Say you're 905 and 100 people swim out at the same time. Now, 100 people swimming all around me. Okay, never happened. A person that doesn't swim. Are we kidding? And then maybe 15 minutes later, the next wave comes, right? And so we're ahead a little bit, depending on how fast you're going, and just keeps going on until all the waves are gone. When I get halfway to the swim, I notice that when you start a triathlon swim, everybody's like really little because you're far away from them. But when you get halfway, they start getting bigger. The people start getting bigger. And I remember thinking in my mind, man, I must be an amazing swimmer because, oh my goodness. See, when you face your fears, you will live with a different gift. You will have a different vision of yourself, a different belief about your capacity. You will be able to step into a higher and taller version of yourself. And often because we don't express self-love in that way with ourselves, we miss it. We miss our opportunity. So a lot of times we also are dealing with fear of judgment. And that is, we are afraid when we're successful of failing. We don't want other people to see us fail. What does that mean? That means because you are already great at what you do at your job and you're already well respected at what you do, when you start your business, you're afraid, like, what if it doesn't work? Because you haven't done it. And so because of it, that fear of judgment often binds so many of us. And that's where, in my opinion, mentorship is important. And that's where coaching is important, advisement is important, because you don't have to start from scratch. You can have people that directly say, take this step, and that step would be the next best path for you. So a lot of times we're at home trying to figure these things out by ourselves, and God knows if you're using Chat GPT, Chat got a lot of answers for you, okay? Chat's great at a lot of things, right? All of those types of programs, but it's not great at advisement around you, where you are right now. What's the best and highest, quickest step that you can take that can change your life and your world? Fear. Fear is perfectly normal, but it's how you decide to make it your superpower. For me, I use fear as my superpower. Every single thing I've ever done is great. I've been afraid before doing it. When I shot on national television, you know what? There was the first time that I ever had camera crews, 7 cameras all around me that were depending on me, and no note cards. Are you serious? Was I scared? Yes. Did I do it? Yes. And what I learned I was amazing at that. But you will never know how amazing you are on the sidelines, talking about what you get ready to do, what you're going to do, what you might do. Trust me on this. And the same conversation, if your kids were saying what they wanted to do, they wanted to start a business, they always thought about, being a doctor or being an attorney, whatever they want to do, you would encourage them and say, you can do it. You can do it. But are you loving yourself that way? Question. All right. And feel free to answer it. Facing your fears allows you to live with a different version of who you are. And I can tell you for sure from my own experience, it's been life-changing for me. People say a lot of times, when you're around people who are very confident, I'm a very confident person, not from an ego or bravado thing, because I just do stuff that scares me. Okay. And I'm telling you, like on this day of loving yourself, that maybe it's time for you to set things up for yourself when you just do stuff. And I said stuff that scares you, that allows you to step into a version of yourself where you're like, listen, I didn't even know this was possible. It's absolutely possible. And I'll say this, and in closing, if you know that you benefit from mentorship, advisement, someone that will shake your shoulders, pull your collar, okay, and not allow that small story to be your reality, reach out, DM me. Totally, y'all know how to find me. I'm pretty easy to find. And I'd love to see what that could look like via conversation. Help you see another version of what's possible for you, because there is another version. Self-love is about showing up for yourself, caring for yourself enough to give yourself all of what you deserve. And that's not anything that's external. That's not something that someone else gives you. It's like going to your friends and saying, "Do you think I need a coach?" They're thinking, "Do you think you need one?" Being able for yourself to say, "Now is the time that I will not betray myself." I want that kind of love for myself. Like choosing a goal and working the plan and not betraying myself by being a smaller version, or doing a smaller version of what I know I wasn't meant to do. I want to show up in alignment. Do you? So I hope that this has supported you in some way. Did you guys get value, or did you get value? I see Gwen, uh, and did you get value, or did you get value? I was speaking from my heart today, as I always do. That's my goal. And my goal is to get you to show up and be the highest and tallest version of yourself. Let me go back to a couple of these comments here. One second. Oh, I love this. Okay. Gwen writes, self practice love for self. Wow. Self exemption, reset. Right. That's what self love is. It's all about that. Melissa writes, I needed to hear this today. I'm so glad that you had a chance to hear something that really supports you. Michelle, I love that. I appreciate you for being here. And she also says, come on. All right. I'm here 100%. And I hope that this supports you in owning the highest and tallest version of yourself. I'm Mia Redrick, advisor to women who want to get it done. And I had the greatest opportunity today to be able to speak with you about resetting around how to love yourself differently. I love you, and I hope you have a great and amazing rest of your day. And I look forward to talking to you. Have a great day. Bye.